Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a very, I wouldn't say historical day, but I would say a very, special moment for us Ferrari fans out there. Lewis Hamilton getting his first pole as a Ferrari driver, and only his second race. Albeit this is a sprint race and this is a sprint qualifier, he's got the pole, and there's some interesting signs. There's some big signs that we could see over the weekend. But obviously, I got Agusty on to join to talk about this because obviously he's a massive Lewis Hamilton fan. Of course, I know obviously you'll see him a lot more on the F1 talk. But how are you doing? And
Let's go out of the blue. As Lewis Hamilton said, out of the blue, he was gobsmacked. That's the word he gobsmacked when he got pole. I think we all were. Ekevin, just like you, I wasn't going to watch this. I have to go get a haircut in 30 minutes. Look at my hair. My hair is so messy at the moment. It's so long. I was like, you know what? I'll tune in. I thought McLaren, by far the most dominant team. We saw that in Melbourne. We saw that today in practice. The long runs, quali pace, the short runs, the medium, whatever it is, whatever the race or the instructions were, McLaren looked to be the most dominant. But what happens? Cometh the hour, cometh the moment when all the drivers are struggling through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. They're struggling with the tire pressure, the tire temperature. What happens? Who steps up? The man himself, the GOAT himself, Lewis Hamilton. So what a turnaround from last week, Ekevin, misery in Melbourne, to conquering China. Yes, it is sprint qualifying. Yes, it isn't the race, but such a positive and encouraging sign to see Hamilton there. And my goodness, the entire weekend, he looked by far the best Ferrari driver. We can talk about it. Leclerc obviously didn't match him at all. And again, this is surprising because I thought it would take Hamilton time to adjust, and it still may, and it still will. But this was a masterpiece, a chef's kiss, and there's a reason the two best drivers on the grid, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, give them the car. Give them a car that can compete. They will give you results because at the end of the day, those are the only two drivers on the grid who have the mind. The only desire they have is to win. So kudos to Lewis and Ekevin. I'm sure you are equally as delighted as I am.
Hey, listen, as a Ferrari fan, no matter what I said about Lewis Hamilton, no matter what I say about other drivers, right, in the past, all I have to say is all I want is the best. All I want for Ferrari is this the best. I don't care if the driver is going to prove me wrong. I don't care if Lewis Hamilton goes on a madness. Bro, all I ever wanted, right, is for Ferrari to win. For the team Ferrari to win. Not an individual driver. I want team Ferrari to win. Unless also a driver's in the race for the drivers' championship, then I want that driver to win. I'll be more leaning towards that driver. However, I'm Team Ferrari, right? I'm a Team Ferrari fan. Whoever races for Ferrari, I will support. I will get behind you. I will get behind you. I will support you. Lewis Hamilton, hey, I was skeptical about him. I still am, but hey, get the job done. You got pole. That's the best result I could have asked for. A Ferrari pole going to tomorrow's sprint race. And tomorrow's going to be interesting, obviously, because like I said, we talked about it last week. Ferrari's pace didn't look as amazing. But what do you think changed? Because from what I saw last week, right? There was a time where they were on top, but then it sort of fell off. But now they've regained their pace back, and obviously in qualifying last week, it was a wet race. Like I said, it was a wet race. Now obviously the conditions are more dry. There's gonna be teams who will show their full potential. Obviously in a wet race, you're not going to show your full potential, but in a dry race like this, right? In a dry circuit, you're going to see more drivers showing their actual full speed and full potential. And there was obviously a lot of turns. There was obviously a lot of not as many straights as you'd say, but there's more. But there's more turns. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think changed? Because do you think Ferrari sort of made some changes? Do you think it's the full potential is starting to show? Do you think there's potential to get the grip back? What do you think?
Look, we may be on the panel, but I'm going to give you the same answer that Fred Vasseur and Lewis Hamilton gave after qualifying. We don't know. Like, genuinely, we don't know because it's so out of the blue. We've only had one practice session, so we don't have all the data. But I think what changed today is, Kevin, you mentioned how this was a dry qualifying. As you said last week on the show, dry races are more reflective and representative of driver ability and car performance. Today, I think the biggest hurdle for all the drivers was turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. And every driver I seen struggle with tire pressure. They struggle with tire temperature. Charles Leclerc, we'll mention him. He struggled a lot. In his post-qualifying interview, he said he couldn't really get the temperature up during the first few turns of the lap. Same with Lando, same with Oscar. They made mistakes. All of them made mistakes. And you actually look at where Lewis Hamilton gained time. It was sector 1. Him and Max, sector 1 and sector 3, where all the other drivers struggle the most. So I think, again, Ekevin, today it just goes to show you that in China, a race where, by the way, Lewis Hamilton has the most race wins in China, 6.
Yeah.
By the way, today in his lap, do you know what record Lewis Hamilton broke, Ekevin?
The fastest lap in a Ferrari qualifier, I think.
No, the fastest lap in Chinese Grand Prix history, which is nuts, by the way.
Yeah,
that's insane. By the way, for your second race in a Ferrari car. So what changed, Ekevin?
Doesn't usually get pole in Beijing. Obviously, this is Beijing, right? If I'm not mistaken.
This is Shanghai, I think.
I keep mixing up. Sorry.
Me too, man. I'm with you.
But wherever it is in China, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't Lewis Hamilton usually get pole in Shanghai, anyways? Obviously in the qualifiers, like doesn't he usually get provisional pole and everything?
I mean, recently, obviously not. Recently, it's been Max, and I think Bottas as well, maybe. But we haven't. You make a good point because we haven't been to China, I think, except last year, since before the pandemic. Because remember, there was a long hiatus, right? When COVID Wuhan, we know COVID Wuhan, the lab. So F1 didn't go to China, I think, for 4 or 5 years. So many of these drivers, like Lando, like Oscar, like Kimi Antonelli, like George Russell, they don't have the experience in China. So Lewis capitalized on that. And then it wasn't the track that was the problem. It was the temperature. And cometh the hour, the temperatures may have been hot in the first few turns, but he was the coolest man on track.
Yeah.
That's a bar. That's a bar. Come on.
I want to ask you, though, do you think Charles Leclerc could have done more instead of pitting on the last lap? Because obviously he kind of knew where he was going to finish, right? But do you think he could have done better? Do you think he could have done more to potentially get like a better position for tomorrow?
Oh, 100%. Because Lewis Hamilton himself said that he could have done better. So if Hamilton, the guy in pole position, said, I could have done better, I could have extracted more time, everyone else could have done better, and especially Charles Leclerc, because that Ferrari, Ekman, I'll give you credit. I'm going to give you a lot of credit here. I was very downbeat and downcast after Melbourne. You can't blame me. Of course. It's like we are away from the fact we are cut adrift from McLaren and even Red Bull and Mercedes. But Ferrari, in practice, they look competitive. And throughout Q1 and Q2, Lewis Hamilton, I think, finished first in Q1 as well. So,
I think he finished first in first practice 1, I think.
No, I mean in Q1 of qualifying, and he was up there in practice 1 too. You're right.
No, I think it was. I can't remember who finished first, but regardless whoever finished first, like still, it's a massive improvement.
Yeah. So they all could have extracted more time. I think Ferrari. I think tomorrow, in terms of pure race, it'll be a race between McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Or not Red Bull, sorry, Max Verstappen. I have to apologize. We'll talk about Red Bull in a second. But yeah, I mean, Ferraris are up there. They're looking much better. But again, push comes to shove on race pace. The McLarens are in a league of their own, and I will continue to stand by what I've been saying throughout this season, up until the second point of the season. So the first phase of the season, the first 10 races, I have McLaren dominating it. Today doesn't change my mind. However, it does just do something even more important than change my mind. It shows us that Hamilton still has it in him. And he looked re-energized. He looked rejuvenated. He looked remotivated. He looked revitalized just as a person and as a driver. So, and as they said on commentary as well, the color of the car may change, but the number doesn't change. The man inside doesn't change. So yes, I come into answer the first question here. Can everyone have done better? Absolutely. Leclerc could have done much better. But I think this weekend, the eyes don't lie, right? In life, when you look at someone's eyes, you can tell how they really feel, what they truly want. Leclerc looks a little bit dubious, hesitant. I think he's doubting the car and the track. Hamilton, on the other hand, has been completely committed. So this is Hamilton's home in a way. It's a home race for him. The atmosphere is all in his favor. So let's not doubt what Hamilton can do and could do. So, yeah.
I hear it. I hear it. Obviously, you know, with the Red Bull having a bit of a dip in terms of like form this week, because we like I said we saw what happened to Liam Lawson in the very first sector, or the sorry very first let's say Q1 actually, let's say Q1 qualifying one, right? Do you think that's a sign that maybe Red Bull has to sort things out, or do you think maybe it pushes a bit of a dip in form? Because last week we saw what happened to Liam Lawson. Obviously, he crashed out, and you can't really blame
Yeah.
him because it's a wet race. You can't really like fault him as much in a wet race. You can expect crashes. Unfortunately, I had to say it, and I don't want to see crashes like that, and I don't wish crashes on anyone. But you have to expect it. But in terms of obviously in terms of how you see things, do you think that there's a potential drop off in terms of Red Bull's second car? Because we saw it last year with Checo Perez. Do you think there's a certain level of bias now towards Max Verstappen, and maybe potentially he's the one that's gonna be the face of Red Bull? Obviously, he's the face of Red Bull in terms of like carrying Red Bull. You think he's like just the main guy, and like nobody cares about the second driver? Because like I said, last season we saw it with Checo Perez.
Yeah.
And do you think there's a level of bias now towards Max Verstappen, and why do you think?
It's
Elaborate in your opinion.
great question. It's a beautiful question, Active, and I like the question a lot. Yeah, Liam Lawson, again, since he's joined Red Bull, he has failed to make it out of Q1. And today he was last. He was bottom by far. It wasn't even close. He was cut adrift from the 19 other drivers. Do I think Red Bull have been prioritizing Max Verstappen? Absolutely. I think that's public knowledge now. Members within the Red Bull camp, I think other drivers, agents have hinted that that Red Bull car is designed for Max's needs. So already there is an inherent advantage towards Max Verstappen compared to the Checo Perez's, the Daniel Ricciardos, the Liam Lawsons, for example. However, do I think that warrants the gap? No, absolutely not. I've never seen a gap this much between any driver and all their teammates in F1 history. Period. I mean, this is not a minor gap. This is not a gap of a couple tenths. This is nearly a second between Checo Perez, between Liam Lawson, Max, any teammate, Albon, whoever it is, Sainz even. Like Max seems to be in a league of his own. And that Red Bull car, do I think it's on the decline? I don't think it's on the decline. I'm certain, as King and I and you have discussed constantly, that Red Bull car, ever since Adrian Newey and Wheatley left, it has been on a downhill slope. And it doesn't look like that trend is going to change anytime soon, because you look at the top, the Red Bull board, there still is a dispute, that dark cloud looming over Max, that fight between Horner, Helmut Marko, Jos Verstappen. There is a lot of dispute and internal changes going on in Red Bull. So, bottom line here, yes, that car is tailored towards Max. I absolutely agree with you. But I'm going to make another point of Max. I've never seen a driver in my time of watching Formula One who is as good as Max Verstappen is. Maybe Lewis Hamilton 2018. But right now, put Max in any single car, as King says. I would back him to make Q3. I would back him to be a contender for pole. Right now, any condition, any track, any circumstance, I promise
Even
Max Verstappen has...
Even in the Williams.
100%. 100%.
Because Carlos Sainz he dropped out.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Albon did make... I think Alex Albon got fifth, if I'm not mistaken, or seventh. I don't know. He was finished in Q3, which was very impressive. But my point being here is... second driver needs a similar style of driving to Max, King says. Yeah, but even then, the difference between Max and everyone else is his mind. If you even just listen to him in the interviews, dude is now mature. He is able to spearhead the team through the slump, and he is only there to win.
Yeah.
No, give him any machinery. All he wants is the win. He's always said this. He's not interested. I think if I'm not mistaken, Max said this. Somebody asked Max, are you happy finishing second? He's like, no, second is the first loser. Why would I be happy? Like, you don't hear athletes saying that. Ekevin, we talk about this with Man United. Second place, give him the... Yeah, go on.
I've gained respect for Max after that. Real talk. I have. And I know there's a lot of controversy in the past, and obviously, with all the things we see last year, obviously with his attitude and whatever, been all that. That's what I want to see from a sports athlete, or from an athlete, or whatever. Yeah. Even if you're a motorsport athlete or whatever you call it, motorsport driver, yeah. Come on, man. We see so much in football nowadays where fans are so accepting of, of a position that we made the jump from this to this. Nobody cares. only care about the first place. They only care about who wins the race.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody. It's like somebody. Oh, I qualify for this. Nah, I'm happy finishing third, man. I won't be able to compete with this and that. That's a shit mentality. You know, Max Verstappen has been winning four. Max Verstappen has won 4 in a row.
Yep.
You know, obviously he wants to go for his 5th, and I think he could potentially get it, right? But for me, like that's the right mindset and mentality to have. Like from any sports athlete, Ronaldo would never accept losing. Ronaldo would always go and throw a tantrum if he loses, and I understand it because you don't want to lose. He doesn't ever want to lose, and I'm sure last night he was upset. You know, obviously with the loss to Denmark, and but there you go. Like it's just it's about winning. You know, and that's the right mindset from a champion. And Lewis Hamilton has to have that mindset if he wants.
I disagree. I don't think that's the right mindset. I think that's the only mindset. That is the only mindset.
Only mindset you should have. Facts.
Because there's no accommodate. Winners don't accommodate. Winners don't make excuses. Oh, it's wet. Oh, it's windy. It doesn't matter. Oh, I'm sick. Find a way to work around it. It's like I read a reading. Yep.
At the end of the day, it's all about the points. And if you get the right points to win you that championship, there you go.
And again, that is the reason on the F1 preseason show where Liam, you and I predicted Max to win the championship because we all knew the Red Bull isn't the quickest car. Obviously, we didn't know the McLaren is that much quicker. Yeah, but still, if there's any driver that can do it with a pace deficit, it's him. He's in the fastest rhythm of his life. He's in the best form of his life. And he is maximizing that output of the car better than anyone I've ever seen and anyone I've ever trusted. So kudos to Max. I mean, I think it was 1800s, like 0.018 second behind Lewis Hamilton on the first row, which is nuts, by the way. It is nuts. I've like
Max Verstappen, yeah.
That is even more impressive to me because you talk about the pace deficit that Red Bull have. So yeah,
King Q1 as well, especially what happened in Q1. Like we all saw how close Max was to the drop, and obviously Liam Lawson dropped out, but Max Verstappen was like about 6 places away, or like something like 7 places away from dropping out. That's crazy, you know.
His car dropped out.
He was like 13th or something, if I'm not mistaken, in Q1. But wow, that's just, or is that practice out? I don't know what it was.
No, he was, put it this way, Kevin, he was closer to the drop zone than the top zone in both Q1 and Q2. Like his time was closer to the drop than the top. So even though it was closer to the drop than the top, that guy was almost the top, which is insane. So yeah, Mad Max.
Good way to sum it up, you know. That's a good way to sum it up. Obviously tomorrow, with the sprints happening tomorrow at the same time, it's happening at the same time tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Sprints are on at 1 p.m. tomorrow. 1 p.m. our time.
The sprint race is at 10 a.m. our time.
Crap. That's kind of early, you know.
Yeah. Do we have any NBA conflict tomorrow?
It's in China, so I can't really fault that. It's 12 p.m. It's gonna be 12 p.m. there, so that's kind of a good time to race, to be honest.
It's bad for you. It's bad for you, Kevin. You have your Celtics game.
Don't worry about it. I'll get a first tonight, hopefully. But tomorrow, obviously, the game starts at about so the race starts at about 10 a.m. for us. What are the conditions going to be like tomorrow? Because tomorrow managing tires is going to be really, really important. You cannot drop out tomorrow. Tomorrow's massive in terms of points. Obviously Ferrari, right? Oh no, obviously I can't exaggerate, but they're behind Sauber, right? And obviously right now, I think Ferrari gonna have to need all the points they need. They're gonna need all the points tomorrow, and I need a double. Not a double podium, but double in terms of massive points. In at least, you know what I would like. I'd like Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc to at least get a combined 12 points each. Combined 12 points would be nice. I think that's what I would take tomorrow. Tomorrow is not the most important. It's the race on Sunday that I want to see. Yep. Tomorrow, obviously sprint races we don't really count in terms of F1 proper races because we see races every single weekend. Sprints don't obviously count, but in terms of points, yeah, they're going to count for something. So I would like to see Ferrari get high numbers tomorrow. What do you expect to see from them tomorrow? And what do you expect to see from obviously? Let's actually talk about McLaren. Before we go on to tomorrow, McLaren obviously got like a double top 10 finish, right? Oscar Piastri as well. I think sort of redeemed himself. I think there was a time where I think he sort of he was on the brink of elimination and he brought himself back up. So did Red Bull, and obviously Mercedes as well. Mercedes had a double where literally both of them were at risk of losing on the last sector, and at Kimi Antonelli and George Russell both escaped. I want to know your thoughts on obviously that and McLaren ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah, on the Mercedes point, real quick, you're right. They were on the brink of elimination. I think it was Q1, Ekevin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, was Q1.
Both of them, and they both pulled out very nice laps.
I think it was Q2 actually. I think it was Q2. I think
even more high stakes. So I mean, yeah, even then, Ekevin, whether it was Q1 or Q2, very impressive, especially from Kimi, young Kimi Antonelli, a P4. He's the second youngest driver in F1 history to score points on his debut. That's crazy. Second youngest to Max. P4 in his debut in those mixed conditions. And then to make it a Q3 today. And I think, I don't know, where did he finish at the end? I have no idea.
Kimi Antonelli, I think 6th or 7th. Not mistaken.
Very impressive.
Because I think Max Verstappen put himself up there.
So yeah, he was... Yes, so young Kimi was 7 and George Russell was 5, which is impressive. I mean, the Mercedes have pace.
Max, Lando, Charles, and then a 5th, and then the rest is about himself. And the rest is himself. I think George Russell, I think, finished below Kimi Antonelli. I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah. So I have it here. It was Piastri in 3rd, Leclerc in 4th, Russell in 5th. So
Norris in 5th?
It was Norris in 6th. That's really, for the fastest car on the grid. Man, that's I hate to be the guy. There's only one way to describe it. That's a bottle job.
Well, unfortunately, there's no football this weekend, so there's no really bottle jobs, but
Tottenham.
No Tottenham this weekend, yeah. But yeah, so I continue what you're saying, man.
Yeah, so very good point, King. Lewis versus Max first corner will be wild.
Do you know what I'd love to see? Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. Do you know what we'd love to see on Sunday? On Sunday, Lewis versus Max. Yeah, in the first corner on Sunday. Like the start of the race, lights out, away we go, bro. I want to see Max versus Lewis on the back of each other, bro. Literally, 2 of their cars on the back of each other.
Would be cinema. I think it would be cinema, but I don't think we're going to get that, unfortunately, because segueing to McLaren, Ekevin, those McLarens, I think, King, you will agree with me, are still in a league of their own. By every metric when it comes to race pace, they are leading the way. They are leading the pack. And when you talk about qualifying, like I said, the difference was driver performance. And the reason Lewis and Max are P1, P2 is because they know how to adapt quicker than everybody else. With those,
I would like to see them compete like from the start. That's going to be drama at its finest, because we have the history between these 2 drivers. They're not rivals like that, but on the track they're definitely like they go at it wheel to wheel. So
yeah, there's no lost love, right?
Don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, again, it's the first few corners will be interesting because the drivers all struggle to get their temps sorted. Yeah. That's going to be interesting. For tomorrow's sprint race, I think McLaren's are going to be charging through the field. They will be surging. The start is going to be really, really important because this is not a track that is, again, this is not a track that's going to have 1,000 different overtakes in the sprint race. So, Ekevin, you made a good point about tire temperatures. It's going to be managing those first few corners, making sure your temps are okay, and then making sure your tires don't degrade towards the end of the race.
That's what I mean. Because the humidity tomorrow might play into effect. Go on, sorry.
It's a beautiful point. I don't know what the weather is, but I'm sure it's not cold. I'm sure it's not Russia. Put it this way.
No, it's right now, bro. It's what? It's like probably what? I don't know exactly the weather, but it's got to be within around like the humid range, probably.
Right. So I mean, Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'll be hot. Put it this way: it's hotter than Antarctica. It's hotter than America. It's hotter than these places. So, it's gonna be hotter on the track.
When's Antarctica ever hot, my friend?
I don't know, bro. Soon. No, I'm kidding. Hey, F1 racing Antarctica, right? That'd be fun. But no, I do think McLaren will be charging through the field. They'll
Yeah.
be the favorites. It'll be about defending them towards the end of the race and that start. Lewis versus Max is going to be important for track position. Either or, whoever has track position ending the race, because again, I'm sure they can stay first. If Lewis or Max is first after the first lap, I'm sure they can hang on for at least 10 laps, maybe 50% of the sprint race. And then who knows what happens with tire degradation. So track position at the start and managing tire temperature and tire conditions. That's it. That's going to determine it. Do I think Hamilton can win tomorrow? Ferrari don't know. Ferrari don't know their pace tomorrow. We don't. But if he gets a good start, yeah, why not?
Hey,
It's 20%. It's 25% of a normal race distance. Who knows?
Isn't there free practice tomorrow again? Another free practice tomorrow, or is after this? There's gonna be another free practice. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's the downside to a sprint weekend. There's only one free practice session.
Right.
So
There's only one sprint race this week. I mean, sorry, there's only one practice this week.
Yeah, and it already happened earlier today, our morning. And Lewis Hamilton made the point after the sprint pole. He said that I've not actually got to see the car's pace in the dry yet. Since I've joined Ferrari, I don't know how quick we are in the dry. Which, if you think about it, is kind of insane because that could have been last week, of course. What were the conditions? They were wet. So Hamilton hasn't even seen the Ferrari. So we don't know. Like, it's a lot of unknowns. But put it this way, if Hamilton can get pole today and he's comfortable with the car, I don't see why he can't contend. But I have probably, you know what, fuck it. Let's be sentimental. Hamilton winning tomorrow, Piastri in second, Leclerc in third. I said it.
No, just sprint and quality tomorrow. Gonna be hard. Could be hard to overtake from McLaren. No, what I mean is there any free practices after that? I think there's one more today, if I'm not mistaken. There's 3 free practices every single weekend.
Yeah, but on a sprint weekend, there's only one because in total in F1 there are only 5 events every weekend. So usually a normal orthodox weekend are the 3 free practices and then the quali and then the one race. So on a sprint weekend, it's different, Ekavin, because it's just you have 2 qualifying sessions, 2 races, and then 1 practice.
So tomorrow there's gonna be sprints. Sprints tomorrow start at what time? Obviously 10, and then this qualifier is like 3 hours later, something. 3 hours later at like 1 p.m.
I think qualifying is at 2 p.m. Bangkok
time. So within 4 hours of each other. So within 4 hours start of each other.
Yes.
So 10 a.m. tomorrow we'll be doing the obviously. We won't be live, but we'll be live. Do you want to go live in between the sprint and quali, or do you want to go and live after both? What would you rather do tomorrow? Would you rather go live after both tomorrow?
I'm happy to do either or because I'll be watching all of them. King, does King have a preference? The man in the chat, does he have a preference as well? But
yeah, that's true.
I mean, we'll go live after quali regardless, right?
I didn't mean to leave you out today, King. Because the thing is today we just want to go live quickly and review the sprint. Well, obviously, I didn't leave anyone out. It's just a quick one today, just a quick live today. We weren't going to leave anyone out, but if you felt left out, I'm sorry about that, my friend. But tomorrow you're back on for both quali and sprint talk, and then we'll talk about the race on Sunday as well. So we'll review that in depth as a whole. But after both is fine. Fair enough. I mean, I agree. I think after both do. I think we should just talk about sprints, and then we'll talk about the quali as well. I think quali, because I'll be real. I think quali will be the less. I think quali will be the one that we'll least talk about. I think sprints will be the more interesting one tomorrow. If I'm not, I think because sprints like a race, right? So we're gonna talk about the sprints more, and then we'll talk about the quali, because sprints will actually determine the Sunday's race more than the quali, actually, in my opinion. Because I think we'll see the actual pace of cars tomorrow. We'll see the more. We'll see who looks more ready for Sunday. In terms of the sprint race, because I think qualifiers won't tell the whole story. It's just who's the fastest sector on the final qualifier. In the Q3, sorry. But its sprint race tomorrow will tell me the whole story of what's going to happen on Sunday. It'll tell me more of who I think will win. But obviously, tomorrow's going to be like it's gonna be fun. Hopefully we'll see a good race. Hopefully, sprint tomorrow. I'll give my predictions. You gave yours. You said Hamilton, Oscar, and Max. You said Max in third.
I did. I forgot. I don't know why I forgot about Max. Hamilton, Oscar, and Max. I'll stick with that. Yeah.
Can you remind me about the point system again for the sprint? I know first is 8 points. Yeah. Second is 5. If I'm not mistaken.
No, so it's the top 8 scorers get points. First gets 8 points. 8th place gets 1 point, and the middle, it's 8-1. So first gets 8 points. Second gets 7 points. Third gets 6 points.
Oh, okay.
Finishes in 8th, if that makes sense.
7 gets 2 points, and then 6 gets 3. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Bingo. You got it.
Okay, I understand. So the top 8 get points. So let's actually predict the top 8. Actually, how about that? Because obviously it's within the point system, so we should go with the top 8 rather than the top. I'm gonna go with my top 8 tomorrow. Lewis on top.
I agree.
Hopefully, I need a Ferrari driver on top. I don't care who. A Ferrari driver on top tomorrow would be nice. Lewis on top. Max in second. I think I'm gonna go with Max in second. I think Max will come second.
Because if I'm assuming Lewis, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. Go on. You're assuming Lewis.
If I'm assuming Lewis wins this race, it means he has a good race start. So that would mean he's ahead of Max. Then I think that means Max is vulnerable to Oscar. So by that logic, Lewis 1, Oscar 2, Max 3.
Didn't Lewis Hamilton win his last few races on pole?
Oh, that's a great question. When was the last time Hamilton was on pole?
I think he got pole in Britain, no?
No, I don't think he did. I think it was George who got
because it was one of the races where Lewis Hamilton actually. Oh no, sorry, you are right.
Silverstone.
I don't think he got pole even last year.
If I'm mistaken, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he got pole at all last year. I think, but in terms of like.
So in Silverstone, when he won Ekevin, it was George on pole.
George, calm.
Got pole in Spa,
and then Lewis got second, right? If I'm not mistaken, in terms of like the pole position, in terms of like the podium positions.
Yeah, and then Lewis ended up winning the race.
Fair enough.
Who got pole last year in Spa? His other race win. It was Max. Okay, so Lewis, yeah, you're right, Ekevin. This is a very good point from you. Lewis has not got
pole at all last year. That's mental. Okay, so tomorrow, we'll see what exactly happens tomorrow. But in terms of what are you saying? Top 8. Let's go with top 8. So you said Lewis on top. I agree with you. I think Lewis on top as well. Second. Let's go with second. I'm gonna go with Max in second. Who are you going in second?
Oscar. That McLaren is too quick, man.
Oscar in second. And then I said Max in second. Third, I'm gonna go with Oscar.
I'll go with Max.
Fourth, I'm gonna go with Charles.
Lando.
Fifth, I'll go Lando. And you'll go fifth, Charles Leclerc.
I'll go Russell.
Ooh, that's interesting. Sixth, I'll go Kimi Antonelli. I'll just be bold about it. Kimi Antonelli in sixth.
I'll go Charles Leclerc.
Russell
in seventh. Behind Anto. Big claim. Seventh, I'll stick with Antonelli.
That's what. It's just a prediction at the end of the day. Because last week, you guys all saw what I said last week about Newcastle and Liverpool, right? So, come on, you gotta trust the. You gotta trust me. No, I'm kidding.
Kevin, you weren't a predictor. You were a prophet. That's what you were last week.
Man said prophet. Not profit, but yeah.
I mean, you profited from your prediction, anyways. So.
Hey, listen. At the end of the day, I called United 3-1 PSG. So yeah, we'll see. Seventh. So seventh, I said Russell. Who are you saying seventh again? Charles?
I went with Antonelli.
Okay, and eighth.
I will go. Actually, no, I'll swap Antonelli and Charles. Charles in 7, Antonelli in 6. 8, I'll keep Yuki.
I'm gonna go with Alex Albon in eighth.
Fair.
Yuki Tsunoda and maybe 9th and 10th. We'll see whoever finishes. I already know, but
9 and 10 is irrelevant.
we're only counting the point system tomorrow, so we're gonna look at 1st to 8th. So yeah, King, what's your prediction for tomorrow? I'll actually wait for your prediction and we'll wrap up. Leave it in the chat. Leave it in the chat.
I mean, hey, what a sprint weekend so far. Insane. I don't think anyone would have predicted Hamilton on pole, least of all himself.
I did say last weekend though the Ferrari could win this weekend, and as it stands, it's looking like it's right. However, I can't go off of qualifiers. I cannot go off of qualifiers. I can only go off of what I see in tomorrow's sprint race and potentially in qualifiers tomorrow. Because it'll be completely different tomorrow. Sprint races are not sprint qualifiers are not going to tell you the whole story. It's the first event of the weekend, and then we'll see qualifiers, and then we'll see sprints, and then sprints and qualifiers, and then we'll see the race on Sunday. So yeah, but King, what's your predictions? And then we'll wait for you, and we'll wrap up.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Real quick, while we wait for King, it's the sprint, as you said, Akavin, it's the longer runs. It's 15, 20, 25 laps on the same compound in racing conditions. That's what's really going to tell you who's quickest, who's quick. So as things stand, it is McLaren on top in terms of pace. King has
Lewis Hamilton on top, Oscar Piastri in 2nd, Charles Leclerc in 3rd, Lando Norris in 4th, Max Verstappen in 5th. That's kind of mental, 6th, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli in 7th, Yuki Tsunoda in 8th. No one giving credit to Alex Albon though. He finished what, like 7th?
No, Albon finished 9th.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yuki finished ahead of him.
I think Alex Albon might have a good race tomorrow in terms of his own pace. I think he might have a decent race tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll definitely see that. That's an interesting prediction. That's interesting. This is interesting. Good predictions though. I can't lie.
I like it. I just think it's very bold on Leclerc and Verstappen.
I'm kind of surprised you put Verstappen in 5th, because I would have put him in the top 3 for sure. But fair enough. I mean, it's predictions at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's we all what we all won. But first, I mean, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Do you have any outsider chance tomorrow? As an outsider top 8 potentially? Like, I go Yuki Tsunoda, potential outsider top 8. You think Alex Albon outsider top 8?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it would have to be either or, right? 50-50. Yeah. And then for tomorrow, Ekavin, who do you think are the only people that can win? Because for me personally, I think it'll either be Hamilton, Verstappen, Piastri, or Norris. Those 4. One of those 4 will win.
I think Hamilton has a good chance. I think Piastri has a good chance. I think Verstappen has a good chance. I think Lando Norris has a good chance. I think Charles Leclerc not so much tomorrow. I think potentially in qualifier he could potentially get pole in qualifier, because he always does well in qualifiers. I know Charles Leclerc in qualifiers. He's a monster in that. But sorry, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I completely agree. I think Leclerc himself said he's not confident. Like, compared to Lewis Hamilton, like, he says Hamilton knows this circuit and he's ready to win. Leclerc is not. So, like we talked about mentality and Max, if a driver's already checked out mentally, probably not going to do it physically either.
Yeah, I just want to see Ferrari compete well tomorrow. That's all I want. I want the points to. I just need Ferrari to get back into the points properly. So yeah, but yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. Make sure you guys liking the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for 155 subs. That's not the goal though. 160 is the goal for March. 5 more to go. If you guys are watching from Twitter or X, I should call it, the link is in the quote tweet. So click that and head over and subscribe to the channel. If you guys are interested in more F1, we'll be back tomorrow. Football, we're kind of on a break from football right now, but we'll see. Maybe next week we'll do something. We might just we might go with like some fun game, maybe bingo, or if you want a footy game night, I might do one. Obviously with the international break, not really happening much this week. Obviously Portugal lost last night. I'm not really happy about that. England playing tonight. Me and Josh spoke about the England team last week, so make sure you guys check that one out. Obviously, well, not really much, I guess. And NBA's just been going on, and I did a quick Boston Celtics show last night with a few couple of Boston Celtics lads. We talked about the new Celtics owner that bought the team. Obviously,
Congratulations, Beckman. Congrats.
listen, I can only say I'm happy. That's all for now. But we'll talk more in depth on the NBA show on Monday. If you'd like to join, like I say, you can obviously join, and obviously there'll be more people. And yeah, we'll close it out here. See you guys tomorrow. After the qualifiers, after quali ends, we'll be live again straight away. So yeah, tune in, like, share, subscribe. We're out. Take care.
Lakers in 4.